hey, if we did $100,000 in sales, I have 5,000 that I can spend in marketing next month. If we did $200,000 in sales, my marketing budget just went to $10,000. So I kept within that parameter, and then I would try different sources. As long as I stay within my 5%, I can, try this for 3 months. If it's working, keep it going, then, move things around, and just, it's okay. It's not always going to hit a home run right away. Like, you can try 8 different sources. All it takes is that one to do very well that can more than pay for all the ones that didn't do well. So you have to just keep trying. You have to keep trying until you find the ones that work for you, and don't be afraid to spend money when it comes to marketing.
You're listening to the Remodeler Digital Playbook, a show created to inspire remodeling contractors to achieve success in their remodeling business. I am your host, Ratna Ramakrishnan. I'm also the founder of Remodeler Digital, the digital marketing agency for remodeling contractors. In each episode, I'll be chatting with remodeling contractors and top experts discussing their proven methods for revenue generation, the insights they've gained, and the keys to remodeling success. And I'll be sharing my knowledge of how I created a 7-figure business using digital marketing. All right, we are in for a treat today with general contractor Vazgen Dallakyan. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, with the
That's
Cobex
okay.
Construction Group. So Vazgen, go ahead and introduce yourself, say your name right, and tell us when you got into the construction business and why you love what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my name is Vazgen Dallakyan. I'm here in Sacramento, California. I'm the founder and the CEO of Cobex Construction Group. We are a residential exterior contracting company, and we focus primarily on roofing. And we've been in this business for 6 years. When we started 6 years ago, it was just me and a couple partners, and we started with a very small budget, and then we built the company to 50 employees and just under 20 million in revenue in 6 years. And along the way,
Fantastic.
we really started to specialize on our at what we were good at. We started as general contractors. As you can see in the picture behind me, these are some houses that we built and worked on, interior, exterior. This is one of our first promotional display things we did at home shows. So it still has our old services on there, but we through the years cut down our services to the exteriors. And then after COVID, we really decided to focus just on roofing and siding and windows. And then our business really started to grow when we narrowed our focus and decided to lean into what we were good at.
Excellent. And what is it that drew you to the construction business? Did you grow up in the construction business, or what did you do 6 years ago before you started Cobex Construction?
Well, I was in a completely different industry 6 years ago. I was in health and fitness. I actually was studying to be a physical therapist. I got my kinesiology degree at Sacramento State University. And then
Okay.
along the way, I was a personal trainer for throughout college and everything. And then I liked doing that. I liked my business as a personal trainer. I liked my clients, and I enjoyed it a lot. But except, I didn't see how it was going to be a lifelong career for me. And I was always a little entrepreneurial and I guess ambitious, and growing something bigger and being a part of something bigger. And so I wanted to originally maybe go into real estate because I had some background working on some investment homes, myself with my father, doing some remodeling and seeing the value go up in those projects and enjoying it really, just dealing with, the trades. And then growing up with my dad, I worked with him side by side in the trade of exterior painting. And I was his
How
helper
cool.
throughout middle school and, early high school. And I enjoyed the services, and then when this opportunity came of starting a service-based company, I liked it because I saw that it had a lot of potential, and I decided to take a chance. So I decided to just kind of put all my eggs in that one basket, and and try to build a home services company.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. When we look around us today, there's so many roofing contractors, so many roofing companies. What do you think makes you
Yeah.
unique as a remodeling contractor?
Yeah, no, what makes us unique is, our real attention to the individual, to the customer. We understood that, there's a big lack of communication, lack of professionalism in the construction trades, and it gets a bad rep. Even in California here, we have something called the Contractor State License Board. It's the CSLB governing body of, contractors. And unfortunately, construction gets the most complaints from any other service and industry, even more than used car salesmen. So it had a bad
Wow.
rep, and we knew that that was because of poor communication, lack of professionals, and lack of real integrity. And so we knew that if we came and we focused on the people, we focused on service, we focused on communication, and we focused on the people, that we would be able to stand apart. And so that was a big focus of ours in the beginning, was the customer service experience. And of course, we know our tagline is "Do it once, do it right." So for us, the work, the integrity of the work, the quality matters. We're not here, to make a quick dollar. We're looking at the long run, looking to build long lasting relationships with clients and build a brand that people can trust. And that trust factor is big for us, so much so that we labeled our website trustcobex.com. And so we intend to keep that trust, and so we identify that as the unique separator between us and the other roofing companies.
Awesome. Very cool. So, as you well know, I have a digital marketing agency that exclusively serves remodeling contractors, and I interview general contractors in my podcast.
Hmm.
So, I wanted to understand what you do for marketing. What is a good marketing mix for you for lead generation for your business? Do you rely on social media? Do you run ads? Do you do door to door marketing? Do you have you found that optimal formula of what works for you for high quality qualified lead generation?
Yeah, honestly, good marketing is diverse marketing. So it's just like if you're a contractor and you have a diverse source of business. It's not all coming from one account or one client. I also don't think it's wise to have all of your marketing come from one source or one partner. You want to have a diverse source of marketing. And when you talk about marketing, there's two camps. There's the lead generation camp, which is to give you the lead to be in front of the person, and then there's the branding camp. And in the branding camp, the job there is to, tell a story of who you are and to build what I call mental real estate, get into the mind of people to know who's Cobex, what do they, who are they, and how do you do that? You can do that a number of ways. You can do it through wrapping your vehicles, by having job signs, by being on radio, by doing what we're doing right now, and just getting your name out there. But it's not like people are going to start calling you tomorrow because they saw a billboard or they see a truck or your job sign or radio or TV commercial. In fact, those are usually pricey ways to get in front of people. But what it does is it gets your brand out there. So that's usually not the most people starting in the home services. That's not their first initial goal. Their first initial goal is to get in front of people. So it depends on where you're starting. So if you're starting new, you don't have a big budget.
Hmm.
You have to start with what you can afford. And a lot of times that's just good old door knocking,
Hmm.
get out there and knock some doors, talk to people. It doesn't cost anything but your time.
Hmm.
And that's what we did in the beginning. I went out there door to door. Then, we drummed up enough business to have some money to invest into like lead aggregators, that you buy leads from. Like at the time, Angie's List was popular.
True.
Home Advisor was still reputable and good. And so then those turned into some more business. And then from there, basically diversified into social media marketing, which is big right now. Facebook is, Google, uh, Google has local services, and then you have all the other sources, mailers, flyers. It's just a diverse source, of marketing, and just, keeping both camps kind of speaking with each other.
Excellent. So looks like you go through the whole spread of marketing. When you think about digital marketing, the Facebook ads and Google ads and website lead generation, which of those do you think really gets you some high quality leads?
So high quality leads depends on how good your ad is.
Hmm.
For example, if your ad is very easy for people to fill out, and it's just something very attractive, you could get a lot of volume, right, and a lot of inquiries, because you have, let's say, a great offer, and that offer gets someone's attention, and but then you have to go through a series of qualifying, to make sure that you're going to get some good quality leads that you can sit in front of and do a presentation with. Or you can take the approach of just trying to create another ad that is going to get people's attention, but there's going to be a few more steps involved. They have to read, then they have to fill out each field separately. And you're from a conversion rate optimization standpoint, you're saying, well, why would I make it more difficult for somebody to fill out their information? We got to make it easy for them.
True.
And I get that. I totally understand that. But if you're really focused on quality, you want the person to actually take their time and to put that information there because they really want it. So if you're busy, sometimes you may make it a little bit more, a few more steps involved, kind of like fielding resumes. You give somebody just a simple, question, to answer before they submit the resume. And those that don't, you can filter out because you have so many resumes. But not everyone's in that position. A lot of people are in a position of, I just want all the numbers I can get and I'm just going to start calling. And so there's two ways to go about it. But look, the way Facebook is, from my understanding, doesn't matter how much money you're going to spend on the ad. If it's not a good ad and people are not looking at it, then they're not going to recommend it. It's
True.
it's just gonna it's just gonna get lost. You can't throw money at it to get it in front of people. And on the other side, if you have a really good ad, even if you don't have a big budget, but people stop and watch, then Facebook is going to recommend it because at the end of the day, what is Facebook? It's a social media platform that wants what? Eyes and attention. So if your ad is garnering eyes and attention, then Facebook is going to recommend your ad and you're going to get a lot more exposure, versus just trying to throw money at it, which doesn't always work and it's not always the answer.
That's very true. You made an excellent point about how the digital marketing platforms actually can help you because they're dynamic and then they show the higher quality ads to your ideal client so you get those qualified leads. So absolutely, if we put technology to work for us, it is going to get us the results that we want and the expected return on ad spend. Considering you've been in business for 6 years, is there any marketing methodology that you've just decided not to do anymore, where you're like, this is just not worth our time? We're not going to have this in our toolbox of marketing tactics. I think you mentioned that you've moved on from Angie's and Home Advisor because now you have a established brand where you're able to exclusively lead generate for yourself. But are there any other things that you tactics that you used in your beginning stages that you've decided is no longer worth it?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I don't do is I don't work with generalists. This is my preference. I work with specialists, people who specialize in my industry of generating roofing ads. They know who my customer is, they know what my objections are, they know what the ad copy should be. I'm sure there's generalists out there that, they can market for a dentist or auto shop
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
market for, a plumber and then somebody else. But that general approach typically for me hasn't worked really well. So when I find somebody who specializes in my industry, understands my consumer, understands how to write the ad, does very well, and then so that is typically what I'll lean towards. Now we used to do home shows, and I think it's great to get branding out there and to get in front of people, but it does require a lot of setup, a lot of cost, a lot of labor. So does the canvassing team, but both work very well if they have the right management team. So if there's the right management team to manage the home shows or the canvassing team, they both work well. We just had a lot of success doing digital marketing, and so we didn't really have a need for that. And it gets difficult managing a lot of people. And if you can get that marketing, through digital, it's just less people to manage, less employees, and sometimes less is more.
Awesome. Um, what social media portals are you on? There's TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and there's not enough time in the day to create content and be on every portals.
Mm,
So as a business, have you made a decision to, post regularly on Facebook or Instagram? Do you do like before and afters? Like, do you have a set social
yeah.
media strategy?
So yeah, we post regularly on Instagram and Facebook. And then we started posting a lot more on YouTube. We
Mhm.
even have videos like day in the life of, and I'm just sharing, what it's like, to run kind of our type of company, our custom, what it's like to deal with the customers and on the roof. And so just how, and we're going to do a lot more how-to videos and informational videos, trying to make it fun and educational at the same time. So I think we're wanting to lean more into the video format, and so YouTube will probably be what we'll start focusing on more. But we have always been consistent on Facebook and Instagram. I haven't tried TikTok yet, but Facebook and Instagram has been the main one, and then we're leaning into YouTube more and more now. So that's we're building that channel up.
That's fantastic because YouTube is, after all, the second largest search engine because it's tied to Google. So I think your
Mm,
methodology is smart in that you're tying your online presence to YouTube, because if you have your presence on Google and then you go build your brand on YouTube, you are going to rank when somebody's trying to find you online. So that's an excellent strategy. Um,
yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, it is a search engine, and people look up how to do things, and and I think being recommended on YouTube can really help the business and the brand. So I would agree.
Yep, awesome. So when you look at your existing client base, do you have like a routine follow up? Do you do any email marketing? Do you have a newsletter strategy where you write to them and tell them how you're doing? Or how do you stay in touch with your raving fans, like people that have opened up their wallets to you and done business with you?
Yeah, so repeat business and referral continues to be one of our main sources of business, and so a lot of that is just reaching back out to customers and seeing if they need additional services, whether it's email marketing, or having a special dedicated customer service manager that will go through routinely and follow up with people. And every once in a while we have like an incentive. We have referral programs, for promoters, we call them. There are Cobex promoters. An existing customer or a friend or family member that has experience with us and promotes Cobex, and we want to incentivize them for that as well. So we have incentives that we do for that, just a gesture of our appreciation, and I think people do it anyways, but just kind of sharing some gratitude with them, helps. So that's definitely a cost effective way to keep business coming. It's not as expensive as spending so much money on marketing. Just do a good job and just check in with your customers, and see if there's anybody else that they can refer you to, or if there's any other services that they need.
Awesome.
And that continues to grow as our business grows, because now we have thousands of people in our database of customers, versus when we first started we had you know maybe a couple hundred. So now you have a bigger pool of people that you can kind of reach out to.
Very cool. So um, do you use any text marketing today?
We don't have text marketing per se. We have text notifications and things like that for communication for the customer experience, but we haven't really done text marketing, no.
Cool. um, Reviews are such a big part of any online presence today, because more
Hmm.
so, I think, because of Amazon. When you try to go buy a pair of shoes, you're looking at the 5-star rating. So I think everybody's brain is just wired to look at those ratings and then make a decision before they want to do business. So do you have a strategy for review collection? So you have, your hard work and fantastic service can be seen online by your customer testimonials.
Yeah, that's a great question. Reviews are a must. It's like before customers would ask, how many years have you been in business? And they still do. But now a lot of people, their way of validating if you're a legitimate company is by looking at your reviews and going through your reviews as well. So having a strong presence and having good reviews goes a long way. People do their research now more than ever. They're a lot more well read. They're a lot more educated, and the demographic is changing. We're having a lot more millennials coming into the market,
Mhm.
buying homes. Their decision making patterns is very different than the generation before them, the Gen X or or the baby boomer generation. So it's understanding how people make the decisions. And a lot of, I think, millennials, they value their time a lot, and they do their research, they investigate, they see what other people say about it, and they kind of already know who they want to work with before they even show up. And so when you can do a good job of you know getting reviews and getting your information out there in front of them to study, and so that way when you get there, it's just a matter of just aligning with the dates, the price, and just going forward versus having to go and really sell your service or your company. So you can do a lot of that upfront with the millennials, because they do the research, and that seems to work better.
That's an excellent point you made. So, do you use any specific tools for review collection, or do you, at the end of a project, you just ask your customers for a review, or your customers just organically go and write a review for you because they were so happy and delighted by your services? Like, do you have a well thought out
We have
strategy?
we have a survey that we do at the end of every project. Actually, we have three surveys, three main ones. One after the appointment to get the feedback of how the appointment went. The second one is in progress of how the job is going, and the last one is a completion survey. And in the completion survey, this is internal for ours, just so we know how we did.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the completion survey, if they're happy with the service, then they're asked if they would like to leave us a review. If for some reason they weren't happy, then internally we get that feedback and we can reach out to them and see what was the issue, why weren't they fully satisfied, and gives us an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to fix something if we made a mistake. So I think that's just the quality control. But yeah, after the project is done, then they get that request, if they're happy with the service and if they fill the survey out. And otherwise, it's been pretty organic. There hasn't been too much solicitation of reviews outside of that.
Cool. So, put yourself in the shoes of a brand new remodeling business owner that's just, starting a business like you 6 years ago. What is, some pieces of advice you would
Mhm.
have? Because we do have listeners that are younger contractors that are switching careers, starting a brand new company. So, what comes to mind when you started your business? What are some things that you did really well, or looking back, you wish you'd done
Well,
differently?
I'm glad you asked because I recently started helping a lot of young and up and coming uh, people that want to get into the trades, and I've really enjoyed it because when I was starting, somebody helped me. I had a mentor, and I had a guide, and I had some direction. So that was very helpful for me. So I decided early on that if I was to get successful, then I would do the same. And so, of course, I don't have unlimited amount of time, but I try to at least give somebody 30 minutes, an hour. But I realized that there's more demand in this, and so I decided to actually start a program called Roof Launch. And so it's going to be geared for people who want to start their roofing business, and it's going to be geared to helping people get to their first 2 million.
Mhm.
And I think for most people, that's the first major, goal post to make to get to their first 2 million. And then I figured, we'll see how that goes. And then if there's a demand to get to the 8 million and then to the 20 million, those will be there too. But my main focus right now is just the getting people launching, and that's to get to their first 2 million. So I'm going to probably launch that this service in the next month or so. But in the meantime, my advice would be, find a mentor, find a guide, find somebody that's done it before. Ask a lot of questions, go to conferences and events. Learn from industry specific people. And have that sense of just you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, thinking outside the box today is going to go a long way because technology is changing so fast. So that innovative, unique approach is also helpful. That naive, lack of that much knowledge in the industry is actually not a bad thing. Sometimes it could be a benefit because you come with a unique perspective. So I would say just don't focus too much on um, trying to save every dollar when it comes to marketing. Be a little bit generous when it comes to spending money on marketing. Give yourself a budget. So, for example, this is just an example. I say, For every you know $100,000 that you do in sales, 5,000 should go to marketing, meaning 5% of your total revenue should be geared towards marketing. That's kind of been my threshold when I first started. I knew, hey, if we did $100,000 in sales, I have 5,000 that I can spend in marketing next month. If we did $200,000 in sales, my marketing budget just went to $10,000. So I kept within that parameter, and then I would try different sources. As long as I stay within my 5%, I can try this for 3 months. If it's working, keep it going. Then move things around, and just it's okay. It's not always going to hit a home run right away. Like you can try 8 different sources. All it takes is that one to do very well that can more than pay for all the ones that didn't do well. So you have to just keep trying. You have to keep trying until you find the ones that work for you, and don't be afraid to spend money when it comes to marketing. Obviously watch that budget, but a lot of people are, the concept of spending $5,000 a month on marketing when they just start a company
Yep,
is scary to
you're
them, but
absolutely
it's
right. You have
doable.
to spend money to make money, provided you have a really high quality service. The money that you spend will get you a good return on investment. So I like your 5% methodology. Hey, remodeling contractors, every tip and strategy we discuss on this podcast stems from working exclusively with internet marketing for remodelers. I created Remodeler Digital to share that expertise and to be a part of your success story. Think of us as your digital partners, always here to lend a hand. Visit remodelerdigital.com and let's build your digital future one strategy at a time. I enjoyed learning about the fact that you have a fitness
Mhm.
background. Would you share a little bit more about yourself on the personal side? What do you do for fun? Do you have like a favorite food or ice cream, or is there a city that you travel to that you absolutely enjoyed?
Yeah, so these days, my life is pretty much consumed by my family, and I think it's probably the most rewarding thing that I have. I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys, 6 and 4, and my girl's 2 years old. So I look forward to seeing them when I get home every day. And we travel a lot as a family. My wife and I like to travel. Every time we have an opportunity to go to the Bay, we live in Sacramento. So when we go to the ocean, or when we can go up the hill to Lake Tahoe, or if we can just, maybe even leave the country for a week or so, if we have the opportunity to do that, we like meaningful experiences. We like to experience different cultures, different traditions. I love history. So, every time I go to a different place, I want to know the history about it. I like studying, successful people. So I like biographies and studying people who have done great things. Like I'm reading Elon Musk's book right now, and it's very inspiring. To get into the mind of some of these great thinkers of our time. I tend to get a little philosophical, so I dive into philosophy a lot as well. Recreationally, I mean,
Cool.
I've always been pretty active, even as a trainer, and in play. We would every time there'd be an opportunity to play sports, whether it be basketball, tennis, even. I picked that up, and not so much golf. I haven't really leaned into that. I think it takes a long time, and I just don't feel like I have the time to do much of that. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to do, and I think if I have to choose, I would just say traveling would be my go to thing if I can make some time to go and experience new things.
Fantastic. So with little kids and being the CEO of a big brand, do you have any time management strategies that you absolutely live by? Do you have like calendar blocking or checklists, or like how do you efficiently manage your
Yeah, so
time?
time management was probably one of the best things I learned early on, and in fact, I just had a conversation about this with 2 new hires, young guys coming into the business, and I knew when I was young, I wasn't that great with managing my time, so I gave them the planner, and the planner has 2 pages. The first page, it's a schedule from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and you try to fill in every line to make sure, number one, you're planning your day ahead, you're being intentional of what you want to do. I recommend doing
Mm-hmm.
the night before,
Mm-hmm.
but if not, then you can do the morning of. Just being intentional with what you plan to do that day. And then on the right side, you have your goals. What are your goals? Your daily goals, your weekly goals, your monthly goals, and then your big long-term goal? And then what are some targets that you want to hit for that day? The main targets. Like, this is not the urgent things. These are the important things that you want to do, because the urgent stuff always comes up. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we forget about the important things because we're just so focused on doing the urgent things, that we forget the big picture, what's important. And then it's good to acknowledge your successes as well. So what went well, and so just kind of keeping like a routine like this in the beginning, especially starting, will really carry a long way. And the second thing, what I would say, is to read a book called "The One Thing." You know, it's a
Mm-hmm.
great book about focus. As a young person, as a new entrepreneur, you're just so distracted. You want to do everything. Everything is exciting to you. Every single person reaching out for marketing, it's your mind can go 100 different directions, and it's always that shiny red dress that pulls your attention. It's like the Alex Hormozy model, where he talks about, if anybody follows
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy, he talks about the red dress. And I think for
Yeah.
I think really, learning how to focus and managing your time, are so invaluable, to early success, along with finding the right mentor and advisors. So I hope that answers that question. For me, I'm at this
Abs-
point, I live and die by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist, because I can't possibly remember all that. So I'm at the point where I'm probably overdue for a personal assistant, to be honest. So there's a lot of things that, like
mm,
dry cleaning and, car related stuff, oil changes, different things that I've just neglected to do because I
it's
haven't
just
had
life.
time.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, having a personal assistant would be probably wise.
Then perhaps that is the one thing that you need to be focusing on to simplify your
I
life
think so.
next.
I think it's I've gotten a lot of confirmation that that is the case this month.
Very good. That's amazing
Yeah.
clarity, right? You can be a better entrepreneur and a better boss if you have all of that noise taken out of your life. Awesome. So, considering we are in
hmm
Q4, when do you start planning for 2024? Do you have a planning strategy of go look at your revenue
hmm
numbers? Did you meet your goals, beat your goals? How do you set targets for 2024?
Yeah, we so I start usually a quarter ahead, so it takes, especially for marketing, there's a ramp up period, and especially if you're hiring salespeople. So last year, right around this time, I decided to lean very much into marketing, and I spent a lot of time, effort, and money into building up the marketing in October, November, December, along with hiring salespeople. And so we hired salespeople. I integrated my assistant sales manager to a full time sales manager and leading the sales team. So that gave me more time to focus on marketing and working on the business. And he really started to pick up the managing of the guys and training them and focusing on them, which they really needed that individual attention, and he did a great job doing that. And so we built up the sales team, we built up the marketing, and guess what happened? A major storm hit, right? So now
Yes,
roofs are
this
being
year.
blown off, and it's this perfect storm. Our marketing was ramped up, the sales guys are being trained, and now the storm comes. So our goal was to get to 14 million because we did 10 million into 2022, and we're like,
Mhm.
hey, if we can get to 14 million, that's a 30% growth, 40% growth in 1 year. That would be fantastic. And I was like, hey, David was saying 14. He's my sales manager, and I was saying, David, I'd be happy with 12. David's like, no, we're gonna do 14. I said, okay, let's do it. And so we ended up being on track to do 20 million this year. So far exceeded expectations, so, and I think the planning ahead and anticipating that growth, and just being in that mindset and
Fantastic.
having some luck on our sides with the storms and stuff too. It was like the perfect, synergy of things coming together with the right leadership, the right team. But of course, this is, this is going to be a new chapter, and we're learning how to evolve with this growing business. And our employee count went from 22 to now 50 employees in less than a year. So, now
Wow,
that I know I have
congratulations.
yeah, and now that I have the team, a great sales manager, and now the next role is production, and to build up that the leadership level at that level, because I think once we laid that foundation, then we can, strive for the next big goal after that. So But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think planning ahead at least 90 days ahead is very important. And what I say is like you have to have the right data. You can't manage what you can't measure. So having the right
Mm-hmm.
CRM to track your data, having the right reporting, a healthy understanding of financials, all that is important to be able to do your projections and plan ahead. And so that's a must.
Very cool. So, since you mentioned CRM, do you use
Mhm.
AccuLinks or Build a Trend, or do you have a preferred tool that you like to use to manage your business?
Yeah. So we have we were on Job Nimbus, which is great for roofing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to AccuLinks.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard great thing about AccuLinks as well. I think both of those would be a really
Mm-hmm.
good start for anybody who's specific in like roofing. But if somebody does general construction, I think Builder Trends is a good one because it's better for bigger projects. And it's just I think people should just do their research. There's not one perfect one. There's not a one size fits all. Um, we got to the point where we realized that we're going to have to go a lot more custom. So we're building out a
Mm-hmm.
custom CRM out on HubSpot, which is just a great tool to be able to build out custom applications and processes and stuff. So, but in the beginning, it's not really necessary to do all that. I think it's just starting off with something that already kind of has preset, uh, tools there for you, like AccuLinks. I think for roofing is probably really good, as well as Job Nimbus. But I think those are a must. You have to have a good CRM, a good follow up tool. So we wouldn't be able to do as much as we did without a good CRM.
What year do you think you invested in a good CRM? Was it year two in business, or did you just go full throttle when you started?
No, right away. So we started with actually a free version of HubSpot, but it was limited. And then we moved to a marketing and sales CRM that was called Market Sharp, which does
Mm-hmm.
great for marketing and sales. And then we wanted something that was going to be a little bit better for production. So we moved over to Job Nimbus, which was a better production tool. And then we realized that there's a lot of changing technologies with AI and a lot of applications that want to connect together to use seamlessly. And so we found that building another CRM custom on HubSpot would be the move. And so that was now year 6. That's this year we decided to make that move.
Cool.
So we're switching over, and it's not fun switching CRMs. I mean, if I can just find one that I really like from the beginning and not have to ever, change it, I would love to just do that. But you have to see what the business needs are. It's same with accounting software. Like I think for most people, QuickBooks is great. There's
Mm-hmm.
multi-million dollar companies that run on QuickBooks, but when you do construction,
Mm-hmm.
eventually QuickBooks has a lot of limitations, and then you have to look at accounting
Mm-hmm.
software that's a little bit more expensive, a little bit more complex, but the business will tell you that you're ready for it. It's not always necessary to get ahead of it, but sometimes the business will tell you that, hey, it's time. It's time to switch.
Yep. It's wonderful that we are in a time and age where we can put technology to use to manage our numbers and our digital marketing and all of that. So, have you tried using AI, Chat GPT, or any of the fun AI tools that are making the headlines now?
Yeah, we're big fans of Chat GPT. We use it all the time. I use it to, like, if I want a letter, if I want an email template. We had a recent storm, and I want to let customers know, that, hey, we haven't forgotten about them. The jobs are going to be delayed a little bit because of the rain. And just wording it the right way. We use it for looking up ideas for videos, like, hey, what are some video ideas, that vlog ideas, I mean, your creativity. And then now we use it for our phone services too. When somebody calls, AI transcribes it, it judges the call. How well did the receptionist answer the call? Were they talking too much, not enough? What was the tonality? And it gives good feedback,
Excellent.
transcribes it and saves it in the custom file. Good coaching tool. We use it in meeting notes. When we do Zoom meetings, there's a note taking AI that takes the notes, transcribes it, and then summarizes it and sends it to the people. And this is just the beginning. I mean, there's so many applications for it. And so that's why I think thinking ahead, and like where's the future and how can we implement technology with services is going to be key, because realistically, like, you're going to need a service person, physical labor, but then the technology side, married with that is a really strong connection, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, because unless Tesla robots start knocking out roofs and doing the installs for us, within the next 5 years, then I think there's going to be a big need for integrating technology with service. So I'm a big fan of technology, and thinking ahead. And so, that's why, we kind of jumped a little early on a lot of these things, I would say.
That's very cool. The different uses that you're using it for already, customer responses, looking at your calls and so forth. Wonderful. If you have any other additional nuggets of wisdom that you would like to share with young contractors, I'm all ears. Please
Well, you're
share.
asking me to speak to my favorite people, no, young contractors, staying humble, and like a learner, like you're curious to learn, but also, being stern doesn't mean you have to be nice and say yes to everybody. Sometimes you have, yes is a yes, a no is a no, and sometimes you have to say no to get ahead. Um, you know, and then, seeking growth, like self-improvement all the time. You have to invest in yourself. Like, the first thing to spend is money on improving yourself. So your investment should be you, whether it's listening to podcasts, talking to people, getting advice, going to conferences, reading books, working on your health, mental, physical health, educating yourself. You're your main investment. Start there, right? That's my biggest advice. And from there, I think, the road will show you where to go. If you're a person that likes to pray, ask for wisdom and guidance, because it's a lot of information we have these days, and there needs to be some discernment, because otherwise you don't know what to do with all this information. So, but I think that discernment comes with time, and, and just, trusting the process as well. And I mean, I think I think that's just it. There's no magic bullet. It's like, as long as you know what the next step is, and then you have some idea of the long term goal, everything in the middle, it's all going to change. It's the path. You're not going to know exactly how it's going to zig and zag, where it's going to go. There's no point of trying to think about all the details in between. Just have a long term vision, and know what your next step is. The rest will sort itself out. That would be my advice.
Fantastic advice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very cool. Well, it was an absolute pleasure,
Likewise.
Vazgen, speaking with you. The next time I'm up in the Sacramento area, I'll stop by to say hello in person. And if you're ever in the Bay Area, I'd love to take you out
That'd
for
be
lunch.
awesome.
So be sure to text me the next time you're driving down. I'd love to meet you. And so again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
If you would like to generate more leads through your digital marketing efforts, please visit remodelerdigital.com and check the workshop section for video training and guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads and how to have your website be best friends with the Google algorithm. Also sign up for a 15-minute discovery call with me to run an online snapshot report of your remodeling business. This has been another successful episode of the Remodeler Digital Playbook. Thanks for listening.